Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, whether you're new or returning here. So, we usually just do videos of a trip, and today we're looking at the Classic XL by John Ruder, another Ruder truck that I've got here. It's a pretty conventional build. We've got a nice brown paint job here, and we're running the Z-Mods DD60 engine, as well as Z-Mods Freightliner interior. And then for the back we've got I believe a lowboy trailer with lumber on it. I think it's about 30,000 pounds, and if I am correct, it is off the freight market, but it's likely a John Ruder trailer as well. And for the interior, oh, just got to reset that, there we go. Interior, got nice wood panels, nice beige styling, not too much going on. We've got a nice, what I really like about this truck is it has both the onboard computer in the bottom left there, and we actually have a nice GPS there. I notice in a lot of them I can't actually see much, so I tend to use the UI one as well. And we will be going from around Butte or Dillon, I think that's pronounced Butte, I'm not too sure, and just down to Jackson. It's a nice 300-mile trip. Should be nice and simple. I wanted to do a quick and easy go after that last video. And between the recordings, not much has happened. I've done a few small trips to give this truck a test run, make sure everything's running smoothly, and it is really nice. I quite like this truck. I initially used the Jerry engine, and I was finding that it was really easy to stall while using the Jerry engine, but now that I've swapped to the Z-Mods version, it's been a lot more pleasant to drive. Yeah. Performance, you use some of these more lesser used mods, and I do find that some of the tuning on the actual engine itself can be a bit strange. And then there's been a couple that you can't stall in, I've used, I think I've mentioned that before. Or then you get other ones and they're too easy to stall, whereas this one seems to be a nice middle ground. I don't have a lot of Z-Mods stuff, but I don't particularly have any complaints about what I've used by him. Oh, this little thing here. There we go, right through the middle. So, probably too high, let's go down a bit. One thing I have noticed is this engine is 515 horsepower, so it's definitely a noticeable downgrade from the usual 600 horsepower I've been running recently, but it gets the job done. It's not a weak engine by any means. So for this video, as usual, I'm always messing around with things where not using any sort of graphical modifications for this video. Besides, I thought I'd give Realistic Rain another go, so we are using that one, but besides that, everything else you can see is vanilla. Generally I will run PNG sometimes, but I'm not actually convinced it does look better than the vanilla game, to be honest. I think the roads in PNG is definitely better, but that's about it really. I don't really like the colouring it does to the game. I'm certainly hanging that, or hoping that SCS does at least do a little bit of graphical improvements with the proposed engine changes that they have coming up. There's nothing particularly wrong with it, but you can still see flashing and that sort of stuff quite often. So what are we at? 70 miles. Oh, and I do have Serial Black's physics mod activated again, as it is compatible with this truck. I definitely prefer being able to use it, that's why I wanted to stop driving the Kenworth for a bit. Maybe see if they decide to change that, or if Ruda updates the Kenworth to actually not have that weird cab shaking thing going on. Oh, that's not working. Gotta change there. So I'm not sure whether it's meant to have it, but I've noticed this Freightliner interior pack doesn't have the range and splitter sound effects. I think some of the Z mods do use those, but it isn't listed on the pack on the website, so I'm assuming that's not actually a part of the mod. It's actually quite cool when you can manage to get that. But I think the rest of the buttons have sound effects. It's funny, I did a trip in Texas in the last few days, and I haven't really been there a whole lot, but I did one really heavy haul, and I think the majority of it was 80 miles per hour. What do we got here? And there was a couple of spots where it was that hard to actually slow down. I think my only criticism of this build I'm running is that it does take a while to ramp up to the speed limit, but this truck's nice and controllable. This must be one of those random events from Dan, I think. I'm not particularly sure what parts are vanilla and what parts are added by the mod now. So I do think after making some comparisons I do want to try more of these Z-Mods engines, as I've largely been using Jerry's for a while. But I'm not particularly fond of how Z does his work. I know he doesn't tend to update things often, but you can't argue with the sound. Let's have a look at the outside view. A bit off there. I've tried a couple of paint jobs on this truck, and I even did one that was a bit more out there. I did one that was kind of like a retro wave type colours, and did heaps of blue lights on the truck and the blue underglow and the interior blue light and that, and it certainly looked cool, but it just feels a bit wrong to be driving like a truck and doing heavy loads and all in what is essentially a show truck. Doesn't feel quite right, so that's why I ended up going back to the more conventional build. This nice, what I assume is some sort of salt lake over here. Listen to that lovely Jake brake on here. It's got a cool little burp at the end when you stop. I like that. It's cool. I don't think any of the other engines I've used has that sort of effect. It's a nice sunny day out while we're driving. I know, because I have worked out that I can actually rest a few times in a row. So I've sort of figured out what a good way to be able to start a job really early in the morning, so we don't have to start the job during the day and kind of go into night time soon after starting, which has been helpful. I'm sure there's a way to use a console command or something to set the day, but I imagine that, or set the time rather, but I imagine that messes with your income from your drivers and possibly changes other things, so I try not to mess around too much with that sort of stuff. Gosh, this place is really reminding me of what it's like driving around Nevada. Where are we? Garden City. A lot of desert in America. So, how are you guys feeling about the next 2 DLC updates? Do you have a preference for either one that's coming out, or are you just excited for whatever? I imagine one of them will be out in the next month or so. Should be good. Oh, and another question I have for you guys is, you guys that mostly consume the American Truck Simulator content, are you into both Euro Truck and American Truck? Because as I have both, I do get an itch to play Euro Truck sometimes. I'm wondering whether you'd like to watch maybe alternating videos, or whether you have a preference for one over the other strongly, or what? Because whilst I definitely prefer American Truck, I do like playing both of them, so I'm certainly happy to record some footage of both. With a bit of practice that we have had, whilst not much, it certainly is getting easier to drive while talking now. I'm quite an introvert and don't particularly do a lot of social stuff. I can't even see where it is. Oh, they're gonna make me do a huge detour up to this one. Yeah, I don't particularly socialise a lot, so I think one of the reasons I decided to start recording these videos whilst commentating at the same time was just to, you know, keep the talking side of my brain going. I suppose it's a bit of a strange thought, but I think that's the reality of the times these days. So, I've missed so much of these way stations, purely because you see that you get a, what was it, installment, a little warning that it's time to jump into one, but then you kind of can't really see where it is on the map. So at least we did make it to this one. So very low, go to this first. Wonder if we can take off in a second, let's see. Yeah. Nice. Oh, another thing I organised this week, so I thought it's sort of adjacent to driving, is next week I'm organising my forklift licence, as the last job I was working at was admin in a factory, and come on mate, yeah, I did admin in a factory and I certainly would have preferred to just be out the back. I do have a science degree, but there isn't a lot of work going for that, so I do kind of like the factory environment, and it'll give me something to kind of practice driving in real life. Well, not driving, but you know, jump on something that you can commandeer. So yeah, next week I'll go get my forklift license. I'm kind of glad I have this experience, otherwise I'd be a little bit more worried about having to take the test and whatnot, but I imagine I will be fine. I'll have to let you guys know whether I get it. So we're approaching Idaho Falls at the moment. Well, we're gonna get rid of that. It's better. It's certainly been nice to leave Alaska. Before this, the majority of my jobs I was doing was just driving around Alaska. There's a lot less to worry about on these roads. I think in terms of trucks I enjoy driving, I'm gonna... Yeah, in terms of trucks I do enjoy driving, I would say this one's probably tied with the Kenworth now. In fact, I think I prefer the way the dash is set up in this one. Has a bit more of a roomier feel to it than the Kenworth. The Kenworth is a little claustrophobic, but I want to go back to the 389. I plan to give mine a re-uplift, as I haven't really used it since the first video. And then I think I'm probably going to check the Peterbilt cab over shortly. But besides that, I'm not really sure what I want to drive next. There's been a couple free mods I've had my eye on. Might have a look at the Freightliner Argosy, yeah, I think that's it. It's looks like one that I think people either love or hate, but it looks pretty cool to me. One thing I find a bit odd about driving the cab overs in this game is that aren't any in traffic. Do you guys know of any mods that you are able to implement the cab overs into the traffic of the game? I imagine maybe Jazzy Cat has something like that, but I've personally been trying to avoid the Jazzy Cat mods, as from what I've read they can be a bit troublesome. I think he uses a lot of stolen content and that sort of thing. That seems like it adds a bit of lag in my opinion. I think I'm kind of in the wrong... oh yeah, I'm in the wrong lane. My bad. If we did a detour, we'd have to go boop, boop. But that's a bit far for my liking, I think. So we'll just duck out here. Oh wait, actually I meant to go forward here. Sorry guys. I think that's one of the things... oh, I'm in the wrong one. One of the things that stresses me out about the idea of driving in real life is I'm going to end up making the same sorts of silly mistakes like that. And then you've kind of got to deal with it differently. I mean, at the end of the day, I do try my best to be realistic, but it is still a game. I like this little gold accent thing I did there, it looks pretty cool. Some of these ruder mods do have really cool paint jobs, but I thought... oh, my light's turned off already. The paint jobs in this one were a little bit lacking in my opinion. That's one thing mod-wise that I haven't actually looked at as of yet, is the custom paint jobs. I know they're quite numerous, I'll have to look into those. I have been hanging out in Mr. Goggles' Discord, so there are quite a big variety of paint jobs that are available through him or other people that are creating content there. Keep subconsciously skipping gears here. So what are we? 4th? Go 5th. I'm meant to be doing 45, we'll go 6. And can probably sit in 7 rather than shifting up more. So we're about 2 hours away from our destination now. Shouldn't be too long. What I've been trying to do with these jobs now is I'm not worried about the money too much at all. I just have been purposely trying to pick the jobs that will run through an area I haven't discovered or haven't been. I don't think going for full completion or something is something I desire to do, but I'll slowly chip away at it. I'm not the type of person that's going to end up driving through all these little undiscovered places just to make the percentage go up. I don't think I've ever 100%ed a game before. That's a bit much for my liking. I certainly do try and avoid doing the same routes over and over. I have seen other people talk about they kind of roleplay doing like an actual company type route where they do a back and forth specifically of certain jobs. I think that would be pretty cool. You do a roleplay type run, maybe the hard economy type deals, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. How do you guys feel about the hard economy stuff? Like, that is certainly something I've dabbled with trying. Maybe make an actual series out of it. I kind of like these one-off route sort of things, but there's only gonna be so many trucks I can try, as I mean I can't really afford to keep buying more. But yeah, maybe that would be the next thing to cover, is doing like a series where we do lots of quick jobs and that sort of thing. Maybe limit it to SCS trucks so we can check them all out and form an actual opinion on which trucks I like that are default. Maybe then you could pick one modded truck to have as your main or something once you get there. Have like a nice expensive one that you work on getting. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And if you've been enjoying the drive so far, feel free to subscribe by clicking that little logo on the bottom right corner. We are currently aiming to get 50 subscribers, so any sort of support is appreciated. We can speed up here. This engine sounds sick when you really hit the revs, I find. Swap up. It's quite a windy road, but it's still nothing compared to what we were driving in before. The scenery is pretty sick. It reminds me of the Washington area and Montana. These are my favourite spots to drive through. Nice big logging van through this sort of area. Another way station. Did I miss that one? Where is it? Here. Some of these are quite interesting in the way they're positioned. It was awkward looking at that on the map. Alright, we're good. One thing I did see the other day is I had just repaired my truck and it had 0 damage %. And as I went through a weigh station, it was telling me that the truck is not in the best condition or something. I'm assuming that must have been referring to like the percentage overall or something rather, because the truck wasn't damaged. That was a bit weird. Once again, I am unable to see the light from this position. Oh. Agco, your agriculture company. Come on, let's get going, fellas. I can't get it out of my head that Cascadias, I've noticed it recently, they look like a cassowary. I don't know why I think that. It must be like the weird aero bit they have on top of the cabin. That's all I can think of when I look at them. Where are we? 40 minutes away. So we have lumber. This might actually be some sort of logging camp or something along those lines. I think if I could move anywhere, I'd love to just be out in the wilderness like this or something. We get a bit of it in Australia, but you're always still, at least in my state, unless you move into the desert, you'll always be still close enough to the city. What are we going on here? Since I've gotten into these games, I've been subconsciously truck spotting whenever I'm sitting in the car. And it's quite interesting in Australia, as if you really look, you just get everything. I think it took a 15-minute drive the other day and... Hold again. I'm gonna have to park. Yeah, in the span of a 15-minute drive the other day. Okay, this is gonna be a bit annoying here. Yeah, I saw a K100E, 2 Kenworth road trains, a Scania, and I saw a couple of other cab overs, a Volvo. I think for the first time the other day I even saw a couple of Mans and DAFs. It's weird, you see the whole variety of both Euro truck and American truck just in the one area. It's quite interesting. Because you'll notice that the players generally of each game are kind of exposed to one or the other. But you definitely get to see a big mix of everything here. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? This is taking forever. So there's a red light and some sort of bloke up there, I think, but doesn't look like much has happened. My goodness, that's taking a long time. Bit of an awkward start there. I probably should have put the parking brake on, but I didn't roll back. So our stop is just around the corner. We're in quite a nice area. I haven't been here before. Like that little village of some sort down there. Looks like a fishing hut or something. It's like some touristy spots over here. Nice view. We got the river from Skyrim down here. We're about to wake up from a dream and be in Skyrim. So I'm at 35. Nice little area. This is, yeah, like I said before, my ideal place to live would be something like this, I think. In terms of just what it looks like, I don't know what kind of place Jackson is. I'm curious to see what the state of our parking's gonna be. Some of them make me want to cry and some are just fine. I did a couple of double trailer loads in the past few days and attempting to park those is shocking. People here reverse road trains with 4 articulated trailers. I don't know how they even manage it. Doing it with the little double here is hard enough. So it's 4:37 PM. It was quite good timing. We got to see all the scenery the whole way through. Looks here. Enjoy a nice view of our truck. I think what I'm going to do is just pause for a moment and grab a screenshot. Thanks for holding, guys. Once again, I am meant to be in the other lane. Sometimes there are roads where there's like multiple lanes almost, and there'll be an extra one going one way, but it's a little hard to tell whether you're meant to be in that lane or not sometimes. I've taken a nice wrong turn here again. So, we're gonna have to do a little loop-de-loop. I was daydreaming a little bit, I think. So good, we got 9 minutes. We'll get to see this nice little town here. I've been seeing a lot of the Acme trucks from Looney Tunes driving around. I don't know what they're from. Is that an SCS thing or is that from the real brands or whatever? I know it's like an Easter egg, but I don't know if I've added that with a mod or not. Okay, so there's a nice little garage here. This would be a cool little town for a garage, but I don't need one right now. I think maybe the next one I buy, I'll stick it here. I've personally moved all my trucks to Montana. That's one of my favourite areas to hang about in. They were in, I think it's Phoenix, at the Amarillo garage. That was my starter garage, but I have moved them on. So we got a right turn here, and some of these garages, I think it's ATS expansion that adds them, but some of the entrances are a little awkward to find. Okay, we can make a nice little turn here. one's easy. Take a little bit of a wider turn. Looks quite low on space in here, so this parking spot might be interesting. Think it must be through the back here. Okay, so I'm gonna do. I'll go in this camera. We've got quite a long garage. I mean, a long trailer, so it might be a little bit tricky. What are we working with here? We've got the spot there. I think it would be ideal if my nose was on the right here, but I think I can get in from this way maybe. What are we working with over here? Okay, I'll try and just reverse it around here. See how we go. Alright guys, you're gonna have to forgive me here. I made a bunch of attempts to get in this spot, but I just couldn't get this trailer to cooperate with me. I think it's a combination of the weird unsteerable axle at the end of the trailer and this long axle here was making it so I couldn't figure out how to turn the trailer like I normally would. I think this is the first time I've had to concede on a parking spot in a while, but you can't win them all. You know, here's the classic XL. It's been a nice drive. I'm going to keep driving it. If you guys have any thoughts, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. And if you'd like to see the next one, feel free to hit that subscribe button in the bottom right. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.